Okay, good afternoon. Welcome to your weekly current affairs program. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria with Erusa Agbonlaho. A lot to talk about. On this week edition, we'll be looking at the federal government's fight against corruption vis-a-vis the celebration of Nigeria's 59th independence. Don't forget, Tuesday, 1st of October, is Nigeria's independence anniversary. And the federal government has declared that day a public holiday. Is it worth celebrating? Well, my guest, very distinguished personalities with me on the show today. I have with me the Christian Association of Nigeria's Secretary, Edo State Chapter, Sir Best Iriabe with me. Nice to have you on the show today.
It's a pleasure having me here.
Okay, I also have with us a former governorship candidate in the 2016 Edo State governorship election, Bishop Akalame, who is also a very regular face on the program. Nice to have you on the show.
Very happy to be here.
I also have with us a very distinguished legal practitioner in Edo State, a chartered arbitrator and notary public, and only recently, now state chairman, Nigerian Society of International Law. Talking about Barrister Patrick Isiekwene. Nice to have you with us today.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Okay, a lot to talk about. Federal government's fight against corruption in focus. And I must say, before we do that, is Nigeria's 59th independence worth celebrating? We'll start with Sir Best Iriabe.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
First of all, we want to thank God for what He has done. We've come along with 59 years. A child of 59 years certainly is of age and is getting closer to the way we now begin to slide down the hill. But having said that, I think there's a reason for us to celebrate every day of our life. We must celebrate, we must thank God for what He has done for us. I think it's St. Ignatius of Loyola who said that the greatest sin any man can commit is the sin of ingratitude.
Okay.
Because Nigeria is a part of the Community of Nations. Nigeria is a part of the world.
Okay.
And the Bible made it unequivocally clear that the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof, including Nigeria.
Yeah.
Therefore, God is the sustainer of Nigeria. And to that extent, we must stand.
Okay, so Best Iriabe is the secretary, Christian Association of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter. So his inference is from the biblical perception on the program. And he believes that Nigeria is worth celebrating at 59. Let's get the thought of Bishop Akalame. Is Nigeria worth celebrating at 59?
Well, we need to celebrate.
Okay.
59 years, though it will be very tough, but we still have reasons to celebrate. Nigeria happens to be one of the biggest, one of the blessed nation, black nation in the world. And despite that, that size of the population, we are still together. Since independence, 1960, Nigeria still remains an indivisible country.
Yeah.
That alone is enough for us to celebrate.
Okay, thank you. Patrick Isiekwene? Yes.
We have every cause to celebrate because it's akin to like a birth of a child. Even a child is giving birth in an aeroplane, or even let's say in the vehicle or even the train. The most important thing that the child come to the world, you must celebrate. The child come to stay. So for us to be alive today, to be in existence without division, so we are member of Community of Nations, so we have every cause to celebrate. Despite the other hearts, which we are used to. Our time goes on, we will fold them.
Okay. Now, my guests are of the opinion that it is worth celebrating Nigeria at 59. I will be looking at the successes recorded by the present administration and probably other areas that need to be addressed. It is worth mentioning that the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, was once head of state, military head of state of this country, and he has a reputation, and that is zero tolerance for corruption. As a civilian president, he has also enshrined that in all that he has done. So we'll be looking at the federal government's fight against corruption, only recently, just yesterday, the media was awash with the EFCC's comment regarding corruption in this country. The EFCC actually believes that all Nigerians must actually be involved in the fight against corruption. But some other media carried the news that the EFCC has said that the social insurance scheme, the one supervised by the vice president, that there was corruption. But later in the day, we got a refuter from the EFCC that they never said that there was corruption in the program that was supervised by the vice president. Later in the night, the vice president, in his Twitter account, in a comment personally signed by him, said he's ready to shave his constitutional immunity to clear his name, that is very uncomfortable with the different media reports that are not in tandem with what is known for. Media reports sort of bringing some kind of stain to his reputation, and he wants to clear that. That's to tell you that corruption, which is endemic, must be rooted out. So we start with Bishop Kalame. Now, government parastatals in charge of the fight against corruption, ICPC, FCC, the federal government's fight against corruption, and the recent issues cropping up. What's your take on all of these?
Thank you, my very good friend.
Okay.
You see, corruption has become a virus.
Yes.
In the Nigerian economy. I can say that since independence, 1960, political leadership and corruption have become interwoven. They have become inseparable. The political class, the corrupt tendency of the political class and its implication on the development of Nigerian economy have become a very big challenge. And corruption has impoverished, have made average Nigeria paupers, more disillusioned, more alienated from the scheme of things. Because the political class bring into the vast resources that belongs to the people. And as a result, these are not working for us. You see, what I've always said is that the government, they have a lot of agencies. Name them, EFCC, ICPC, whatever names you will call them. But I can tell you that no government, no agency can fight corruption.
How do you mean?
I'm coming.
Okay.
You see, what they are fighting is the symptoms of corruption. Corruption as a virus to the growth and development of this country, it is not a systemic problem, but a people's problem. Corruption you see today is very broad, widespread, than the normal theft of public funds. It also includes the laundering of resources abroad, saved from domestic laws. It also attains the embezzlement. It also attains what? Bribe. Electoral fraud also can be classified as corruption. The mother of it all is nepotism. Now, how do we go about this? All interest group, government, the church, learning institution, the mosque, the family have to get involved in the fight against corruption. Although I am happy that President Muhammad Buhari came into power with the idea that he wants to fight corruption. That's to tell you a man that has the mindset to fight corruption, but he cannot fight corruption. But what we'll be doing is symptoms. Symptoms. Because only him cannot fight corruption. Corruption is just everywhere. As I was coming just now, I read in the social media a couple that stole 38 million naira from the national insurance scheme, money that we transfer to that account, took the money, and the husband felicitated her movement, and she traveled abroad, and she'll be arrested. You can't imagine somebody who's working in office, he only have the mindset of defrauding you are working. So if we must get it right, parents, your child, you give your child, you bought a biro and a pen for your child to go to school, and he returned with 5 pen and 2 biro. You did not ask, or you didn't even check the bag. How many pen are inside? And you even saw them do as if you behave as if you've not seen anything. If you start from here, let's go to school. How do you get this extra 5? You see the proprietor or whatever, the principal. I didn't know that I bought 1 pen for my child, but he came home with additional 4. Please, how come? They will look for the owner. Then that time we now know that it is a sin. It is an abomination to steal. Then you now discover that corruption begin to fight corruption gradually. Then in the church, I remember those days when I was very young. If you go to church, when we hear the sermon of the clergy, when you go back home, you'll be so scared to commit any sin. You'll be so scared. But today, in most churches, we don't hear those sermons again. People are no longer afraid of God. Because so many men of God have deviated for the messages for morals. Instead, they now preach prosperity, money, big cars, name them. So because of this, people are no longer afraid. So corruption has become a way of life. I know it's everywhere, but that of Nigeria is oversized.
Thank you. Sabes Siriabi.
Yes, he has made the point, Bishop. Because we are fighting the effect and ignoring the cause.
Okay.
That's exactly the point he has made, and that is true. We must go back to basis.
Okay.
You know, there's a lack of good parenting nowadays. Cultural values, our cherished values, have been completely knocked down. Everything is boiled down to money. That is it. Once you have money, you are a nouveau rich. Nobody asks you where you got the money.
Yeah.
And so everybody celebrates money in our society. So corruption has become hydra-headed, a monster, and to the extent that the whole question of fighting corruption has become so concentric. And those who are trying to fight it, with all honesty, trying to fight it, have themselves been lost in the labyrinth of its complexities. Now, what are we talking about here? Nigeria is a blessed country that has been established, but few persons, because of lack of proper education, when I'm talking about, not talking about secular education, university education, because of lack of proper education of the mind, have decided, because they found themselves in the corridor of power, to take our common patrimony, the money made for everybody, for their own private good, as opposed to the use for the common good. So here we are talking about greed and avarice. Greed and avarice. And the fact that somebody wants to have everything to himself. He wants to have everything to himself. Nigeria is the only place where somebody will have 10 jeeps with tarpaulin, covered with tarpaulin in his compound. Nigeria is the only place where only one person wants to have 100 houses in every street of the city. What are you doing with those ones? You see, if we were to be content with what we have and allow, you see, let people know that whatever God gives to you, even as an individual, you may say that's your hard work. God has given you that wealth in trust for the downtrodden. But that's not the case today. So we celebrate wealth. Let us go back to the basis, even right from the kindergarten, to begin to reorient our people. That money, after all, is not everything. There was days when we used to say, good name is better than riches. We don't have any of those anymore. You need money, and that's the fact. So corruption runs through the entire segment of society. Yeah. So sometimes when we are looking at corruption, we are always pointing accusing fingers at those at the corridors of powers alone. No, even you as a leader, as a husband at home, as a wife, wherever you work, you are a leader of some sort. How do you handle situations around you? You hear of even messengers, before they can give you anything from the fire, you must part with some money and all that everywhere. So the good intention, the government have the good intention to fight corruption. But like he said, you may have that good intention, but what about your subordinates? What about your collaborators? Are they in the same page with you? If they're not on the same page with you, there's nothing you can do. That's the problem we find ourselves today. Oh, let him be doing that, doing his own there. I'm here and all that. So if we come back to basis and begin to tell our people, look, there is dignity in labor.
Okay.
Money is not about everything. Sew your coat always according to your available cloth, and you will get there. Because after all, when you amass this wealth, people forget that death is imminent. It's knocking at the door. And when your eyes are closed in death, you can't spend any of this money again. We have seen a situation today where people have amassed wealth, have money in banks, not known to their spouse or even their children. They die and that money is forfeited. So greed and avarice has to be cured. And to cure it, we must start from the basis, from the schools. The school curriculum should have a special curriculum that deals with these issues. That look, when you are educated, education is good, money is not everything, live a good life, whatever God gives to you, live a life of sharing. A life of sharing as opposed to that of greed.
Thank you.
Greed is the main thrust of corruption.
Okay, Sir Bessie, I will come back to you. But Barrister Patrick Sekwene, now looking at what the government is doing, don't you think that the fight against corruption is in the right direction? We've seen footages where the EFCC recovered so much cash. Before now, this was not commonplace. So it is a sign of success in the fight against corruption by this present administration. Don't you agree with me?
Well, to an extent, because I personally believe in prevention than meeting those that are already taking part in the acts.
Okay.
But there are a lot of criminality that is unknown to us today. What of the EFCC are not seeing? It is what you are saying, you just talked about. But you see, for us to tackle this problem, I think we'll go to the fundamental. You see, because when you try to solve a particular problem, and if you're not able to solve it, it means you have a fundamental problem. If you watch issue of corruption, 15 years ago, it's not like this one.
It's growing.
It's growing. It's growing in the dramatic progression. I'm telling you, it's growing. That's why the federal government fight against corruption, because they're not doing the right thing. You see, we like if they're trying to clear, we are cutting off. We're just treating the issue with levity. We're just approach it politically. We're not doing anything. We should look for the preventive. How do we solve the problem holistically? We must go back to the root. Just like family into the lighting, the school, the church.
That's right.
Integrity, the ways of life. You should emphasize their words, not where the issue of words is being promoted day by day. Check out the 75 names the FCC got in connection with FBI. Those people involved. Everybody says cyber crime. It's not where they are looking. How they can come across this way? Corruption is everywhere. Because that the government too have not done the right thing. You see, it will continue increasing the dramatic progression. Do I see it? In the sense that all the government really needful, we have to go back. Government must go back. That's why to solve this issue holistically. That's why Obasanjo. What EFCC? Would you look at us to solve this problem? Not already those last time Richard was invaded. They saw the money they said they bought from his house. Bundles. So what I'm trying to say is that they need to do something. Those going to blame who are more responsible is the government who have abandoned the people. The government should be more responsible because the youth are jobless. The youth, nobody cares for them. They are just like sheep without shepherd all over the places. So what happened in South Africa for greener pasture everywhere? Nobody cares about them. In the country where to be okay, would they go out for greener pastures? No. So it's like to your own territory Israel. That's what happening in Nigeria. If you are in an office, whatever you can take there, carry on. Anywhere you find yourself. That's why you see people, when there's employment, if your father, your uncle, your person is there, employment go for that family. Nobody else. Nepotism. If every department, if the custom is for you, if for the army is for you, ordinary man will not get job. And I said that you don't be corrupt, they must survive. So government are not doing the right thing. They are being just let loose. So we have to go back to the basics, differentize words.
That's right.
Differentize words. Because it's crazy for word that is a cause of all these things. You see those same people, they're all in prison. You know what's going to be there because they're out of ignorance, they wanted words. And life is not just about words. One of them was talking about how to create the latest different thing in scientific world. We're talking about how to about money here is our fight. Nepotism, when the world is moving in a special way, we're still talking about how to corruption here. No, it is the government. It will be defined. Not when 5 persons are going corruption, you will later relate to lead 3. It's my own, it's our party, it's my person. So are you fighting corruption? So we not take it all. So it's
okay,
but
let me interject there, Barrister Patrick. Now, looking at this government under President Muhammadu Buhari, there are no sacred cows. We've seen people within the ruling party, being brought to book. So don't you think that the government actually has good intentions in terms of this fight against corruption?
There are second crowds. There is. I'll give you instance now. I'll give you an example. For example, you are aware, let me charity begins at 2. Let me start from here. You are aware there is a strong petition to the EFCC by a bishop of from this state of a church against Oshomole. Today, EFCC is not doing over the matter. Today, but there are some serving governors now that are living office. The EFCC already voted for them to arrest them. The man is moved freely. And nothing was indicted by his state. Set up over corruption. Nothing was done. The legal advisor of back to a judge. We don't know anything about it. I don't try to give you instance now. They are in this government. What are you talking about? They are in this government.
Yeah, but when you talk about the issue of Oshomole, the case went to court,
yes,
and he was freed by the court. Yes, so I think the man. You can't use him as an example.
The issue
okay,
here,
yes,
the issue here is not that there's no corruption.
Okay.
The issue here is not that the government do not have good intention. They do have good intention. But you see, a country like Nigeria, you know, we are human beings. Take it or leave it. You know, they are matters of discretion.
Yes.
In a human organization, you cannot completely rule that away. I said the whole thing is complex. You see, the point that we want to look at here is that let us look at it holistically from everywhere, because even the person who is accusing government, if you zero in on him, even the way he runs his house, there's some element of corruption there. Everybody have this. You know, we need to look inward. This is not a question of finger pointing.
Yes.
Because finger pointing is too much in Nigeria. When you are pointing your finger to somebody, others are looking at you. Mm. So we must come back to basics and say, what did I contribute to this problem? Because we say it's Buhari is the other one. But one way or another, we have contributed a lot. Bishop just mentioned just now. I'm from that constituency. I don't spare it because actually today people do things with so much bravado, even in the church. You have bishops, you have the so-called men of God who goes around now with security vehicles, with policemen all around them, and not just like politicians. Where do they get the money from? The people who pay the money, they are bed warmers, they are men and women of the pew. While he's in the altar, crisscrossing both ends of the altar, talking about sowing seeds and stuff like that. These are corruption. So the government, I believe, have good intention, but it is not easy to fight corruption. It has become a monster. You can see it even walking out on the street. It's a big monster.
Yeah, so, but when you talk about the clergymen who go with security personnel, do you think they should be blamed? Is it not this insecurity in the country that has given rise to that?
I think it was Chino Achebe who said that if a man goes to the bush and brings back to the home an ant-infested wood, you are not going to quarrel that lizards have become your visitor.
Oh, at all.
Because you see, let me tell you one thing, Egosa. You see, when you surround yourself with such guards, you are telling the world that there's something in the home. You know, and people need to know that your security is not in the hands of those people carrying guns all about. Because it's common knowledge that even with 5 policemen, daredevil criminals still struck, kill the policemen, and still succeeded in taking away their principal and paying the ransom. So those are not forgetting you. You see, that's an erroneous impression. God is our ultimate savior and God, not those people. So the moment you surround yourself, so we should not have an unwholesome acquiescence with something that is not in tandem with your faith. Mm. If I say I'm a child of God and I believe that God leads me and He guides me, I should not go and be. Our people from the church now, they are imitating politicians. Because politicians go with this sort of people, they want to also do that, do the same. Mm-hmm. So corruption cuts across the entire gamut.
Thank you, Sir Bessie Rabe. I think we should move forward now. We've seen a situation, former federal head of service, Itajua, is under investigation. And you see, we've seen that this government has exposed corruption in the public domain. So, Bishop Akalame, what advice do you have in terms of this fight against corruption? Because we've seen that the government, if a former federal head of service can be exposed, we are not saying she's guilty, but she's been investigated. We don't seem to hear things like this before now. So, what do you think should be done to actually strengthen the fight?
International, thank you very much. Whether we like it or not,
Yeah.
Mr. President is doing his best in the fight against corruption.
Okay.
Where it's just that we are in a country where whatever you do, people will still talk.
That's right.
They will never be satisfied.
Yeah.
No matter how you try, no matter how hard you work, some people will still complain that you're not doing your best. Your best is not good enough. One reason why I admire Mr. President is that he came into power with the intention to fight corruption. And he started, we'll begin to see things that we've not seen before. Though they've been in existence, like Obasanjo did the same thing. Alamesia was a PDP governor now. He dealt with it, corruption. And so many governors like that, the Deme, George Jokano, and the rest of them will know how they went to Kuje prison by Obasanjo. We remember those ones. He fought corruption. And he was equally the person that brought in ICPC and the EFCC. Buhari came, and he continued from where he stopped. And then we'll begin to see the manifestation of his actions. The only thing I have to say is very clear. Though he's doing his best, I don't want us to narrow it down to the recovering of stolen fund. Like I told you just now, if a recovery fund for people who have stolen them, that does not mean that we are fighting corruption. We are not fighting corruption. Like I told you initially, just that we are trying to get it back from those who stole before. We are just fighting what we are seeing, like I told you the symptoms. The only thing we need to do is that we must try, and the government has to try as much as possible to work together in synergy with other organizations. Like if you go to some high institutions now, we see the FCC working with those high institutions that if they see anything that is not clean, that look like corruption, they take it off from there and they invite the FCC. So if we begin to have things like this in place, I believe that it's not just all of us blaming Buhari, or he's not doing his best, he's not fighting corruption. Like I told you before, he cannot fight corruption. My brother, if you go to some places now, go to some homes, you see a young boy who is 16 years old, riding a jeep, riding a very good car. He has not finished school. He's not working anywhere. His name is not any other payroll. The parent will take the same child, you call the pastor, Pastor, my child has just bought a car, please, we want to dedicate it. The pastor will be happy, hallelujah, thank God. You know, the child will dedicate the car. Nobody will question the source, where the money comes from, to acquire such a car. After then, the young man will say, I want to dedicate my house. Somebody who is not more than 20 years, the parents will be celebrating.
Yes.
Parents will not ask the child, no, where are you working? You know that you just left a school, you just left a secondary school, or you are in year 2, or you are in year 1 in higher institution, you've not finished your school. Where have you gotten your job? They will celebrate. So when we begin to celebrate money, we begin to celebrate wealth in Nigeria, we begin to celebrate material things, there's no way corruption will stop. That is why today, see, that kind of child will grow up when he become a governor, because he grew up to know that for you to make it in life, you have to steal. You have to involve yourself in the holding activities to make money. So when you become governor, the only language you understand is how to siphon the public fund, you know, and privatize the public fund, privatize the public property into his own ownership. He will forget how to do road, forget construction of other amenities. He will forget how to deliver a dividend of democracy to the people, because the primary reason why he became governor is to siphon the fund, to enrich himself and become popular. Like I just said, you see some men of God moving about with convoy. You see why we do not do this? It's not because the speech you're talking about, it's not because most of them, it's not just because they feel that I am not secured. It has become a way of life of average black man. That if you can move 1, 2, 3 jeeps and you have you have what do you call it?
Police orderly?
Yes, you have police with you. You are not a personality.
Yes.
So if politician can do this, means that as a pastor, I need to increase my status to tell them that I have arrived. So you see them in some functions. You see about 10 police officers here. You see about 10 here for a man of God. You see, all these things it's uncalled for. You know what I'm saying? It's uncalled for. If we are doing this, we feel that because there's a security in the land, I have to secure myself by taking armed men alongside with me. It doesn't work. Our people said there's a song in our place, an ouch. He said, you know what I mean? He said, what's those who are suffering and what are those who are enjoying? We are all at risk. So those politicians and those pastors who have made money from the people, they are aware that the people have become paupers. They are poor. They are suffering. So they are afraid that these people will come against them. It become a fight because they cannot be watching you enjoying while they are suffering in the same country. So they have to move about with a convoy and with security. So
yes,
what I need to say is that all of us have to come back to the drawing board. I have stopped blaming government. It is not government now, like my friend here have said. Government. It is not government now. Why is it not government? It is the people. The people. Because it is from the family unit that child will migrate into society. It is from the society. The child will say, oh, I want to contest for a member of House of Assembly. I want to become a governor. I want to become a senator. So with that background, that foundation you have from the family, that it is good to see, he will grow up. He will not come to the society, he will go to church. He now know that it is good to steal, no morals. So by the time he become a leader, then he now see corruption as a way of life. So it is not a systemic problem, but the people's problem. If we can all purge ourselves, and do the right thing, corruption will just vanish from Nigeria. And
so you believe that the family unit?
From the family unit.
Okay, thank you.
The family unit.
Yes. Look at for instance, I agree with him. The followership have a lot to do with the issues of corruption. Now, the moment you are appointed,
yes,
you are here, my friend, you are here. You are, if they hear tomorrow, your family or your friends, you are appointed a commissioner or a chairman of board. The next thing, you'll be inundated with invitations as high as the ceiling every week. Where do you expect to get the money to come and oil them? You are appointed as a commissioner. You are expected to go there and serve. First of all, you want to book a Thanksgiving. They are not thanking God that they have been honored. They are thanking God that money has come. It's now time to get money. You see, that's what. So why do you celebrate? Why do you throw parties? Because you were made a commissioner or a minister. We must start from there. God must zero in on people. You have been made something. Please, you are a minister. You are a commissioner. I don't want any celebration. You are coming to serve. That position is not for personal aggrandizement. The position you have just been given is meant for you to serve. You've been commissioned to serve to the people. You have been made a minister to minister the dividend of democracy to the people, not to your pockets. So you want them.
Yes.
I'm appointing you. The moment I see you celebrating, you are sacked immediately. If I say you belonging to how many clubs you belong to, you start society. You want people. There are ways you can regulate all
yes.
this. It happened before. There was one military government that I think it was this Diagmo, this Buhari and the Diagmo. That time we were beginning to get there. That when you are in a place, you queue up.
You must be in the queue.
You queue up. War against
war against the discipline.
You see enter a bus. You are in a public place.
Yes.
Somebody who is 70 years old, who is older than you, you are supposed to give him a preferential option. A young man, oh, you're welcome, sir. Please sit down, sir. You don't find that anymore. You don't find that anymore. You say we are the same. In fact, the other person now is even we have to kneel down for you.
Chemo, it's as bad as that.
Chemo, we have made it chemo now, and it's as bad as that. So if we can come back and let's sit down, the followership, and say, look, this is the way we should go. You make me a commissioner, I'm there to serve. Why are you inviting me to come and launch this and that in the village? Where am I going to get the money? Because of the pressure we put on these people, including the church. They have to look for this money by all means to come and serve you.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Patrick, now, what's the way out of this corruption?
The way out, like I said before, government has a role to play for a way out. You see, taking from my brother's statement here, that
Okay.
there was a time war against discipline, who going to be controlled by their behavior.
Yes.
It's the government. It's not the people. That's why I said the government had a role to play. If the government is responsible, able to go out program, monitor things, people will key in.
Okay.
You know the program.
Yes.
Like government abandon its people, no employment, don't care for anybody. Then what is supposed to do? Government has a duty to build a program, policy that will make people feel they're part of the government. That's what I'm saying. People know that they're part of the government. You play, you have serious school curriculum, the churches. If you make government, people will obey.
Okay.
Not by you abandon the people, so you're following. Now, for example, when we were in university, I remember during my university days, my secondary school days. For example, I attended ICC. I never had any problem. Books, school, everything. I lead was free education. That's what I mean. Say responsible governments. We don't take anything about more than book. That's my problem. No school fee. But try school now. In university now, what? The school fee now about 150 to 200,000 naira. What they expected to get the school fee? The parents minimum wage is 18,000 naira a month. So people now spend more than what they receive. So people they receive 30,000, their spending is over 120,000 naira. Is that not deficit? Check how many economists. How do you cannot more be there to meet it up? That's not the reality.
But that does not give.
No, I'm not telling you now.
Mm.
That's why the thing is spread like a wildfire. So it does not commensurate with what you receive. So people are being neglected. You want to buy, you want to fuel your car, you don't want to fuel your car. So it's a problem. So many things. So the government have a role to play. You must bring down things. You must involve the people. It's your serious right. Then church will do their own. You understand me? In the kitchen house will do their own. So many people do their own.
So the prices of goods and services must be reduced. So government has a role to play.
When the government now is looking how to increase fuel again. For the present price now, they're thinking how to increase it again.
No, they've made it clear that they don't intend to.
I'm telling you, if they do, I will not be surprised. Because that's not the government. So government have a role to play. This is a way it will go on naturally. But if you watch it years ago, things were not as this. If you see a lot of kidnapping now, it's something else. Among the youth, so everybody want to buy jeep of every. Nobody cares whether you're 100 level. You say, first day, you're a student, you're not thinking like a student again. So go put you in the work. Let government do their work.
Lack of character formation.
Yeah, so let the family do their own. Not whereby a parents will be taking the child who want to write just come and try to bribe teacher.
Yes.
Can you imagine corruption of the eyes of that?
Yes.
Do you understand what I mean? Look, I told my children, I don't even know how they write their exam.
Yes.
Don't expect me to give. I have no business with you. But I pay your school fees. That's the only thing I owe you. And that's how they operate. So you understand me? Some people use money for blocking. Parents give them money.
Very prevalent.
In the local palace. Yes. I'm telling you.
Yes.
So what are you teaching? What do you expect to get? It's what you put in, you get. So the family system is
okay. Now, maybe the Avia need to understand what you mean by blocking. What do you mean by blocking?
What people give now to pass the exam?
Okay, now we see a lecturer
yes.
under this administration
yes.
who has been sentenced to prison
And we need more
to
of that.
serve for some years.
Yes, it's good.
Because of he demanded for sexual favors
yes.
in exchange for examination marks.
Yes.
We need more of
But
that.
so, your government has role to play.
Yes.
Let me tell you one again. Let me tell you. I don't want to mention name.
Yes.
Person told me the child was promoted to a particular classroom. Just do class. He still want to know the teacher. The school refused. It's a Christian school. If you have nothing to do with the teacher, teacher will not know you. You are not accept. Don't come and go. People will come comfortable.
Thank you, Mr. Patrick Gentlemen, I want to thank you. Nigeria will be celebrating 59, and we are looking at the fight against corruption. My guests have dissected the issue expositorily. They've given very important facts as regards this topic. But there's another issue that actually came to the fore and that reverberated in the nooks and crannies of the country. It has to do with the 7th governor of Kaduna State, Nasir Rufai, who took his son, 6-year-old son, to a public primary school in Kaduna State. And that happened on Tuesday. He enrolled his son, and he actually said that that was part of the fulfillment of his promise to the people that when elected into the office of governor, he will allow his son or one of his children to actually attend a public school. Now, don't you think El Rufai become a role model? We'll start with Bishop Akalame, who's an educationist.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
It's a very good one. I've listened to so many reactions.
Yes.
Yes,
and commentaries on this issue.
commentaries.
Okay.
Concerning the action of the governor of
Kaduna State.
You see, it's a good one. Why do I say so? The educational standard in Nigeria has dwindled over the years.
Yeah.
No quality. And of course, a lot of people have decided to be importing foreign certificates into the country. They import foreign certificates, and of course that most of the companies you see around today,
Yeah.
they value those imported certificates than the domestic certificate. That they even when they try to consider the domestic certificate, they pay higher salary to those who have foreign certificates. And of course, our leaders, most of their children, they don't go to our schools. They send them abroad. But because their children are not here, and I can tell you that they have refused to make education a priority. A situation whereby you see lecturer at home for 6 months, strike, no school, children are home. And you know, if you don't read, this brain gets lost. They don't care. That the only thing we see, like I said, is the physical building, the furniture. That's what you see. Then we're talking about the intellectual value. We don't get it. When El-Rufai came in Kaduna as a governor, the first thing he did was the competence test that he did for the teachers. Because he believed that those training our youth, those raising our future leaders, had to be competent enough to be their teachers, to guide them. So you have to make sure that board the system, get the right people, you know, to be the teachers. And I can tell you that today, if you go to Kaduna, that people who have PhD, who are still teaching, who are teachers, not lecturers, teachers. So, and I believe that the reason why he has taken his child, 6 years old, to the public school is that he believes that he has done enough. He has done much to have a quality, to have a standard education in the world, in Kaduna.
Yeah. Then
I want every other politician, every other leaders to emulate what El-Rufai has done. Because if all the governors, their children, they are in our public schools today, like you see, the University Polytechnic and all these schools, and I tell you, lecturer will not strike for 1 month. Because they will not like their children to be at home. And if anything is missing that's supposed to be fixed in terms of educational facilities, and I tell you that the leaders, they will make it a priority, but they will make sure that they fix it. And I want to make a passionate appeal to them that a time has come that if we must grow as a nation, we need education. And for us to have education, it must be a quality education. If we go outside this country, you see how our boys, they are doing very well academically. That's to tell you that God has really blessed a black man in Nigeria. We are very intelligent. We have the brain. But the problem we're having is that we don't have the enabling environment. We don't have the resources. We don't have what we need to do well. That's why I say when we live here, you take us outside, we dominate there.
Thank you,
so
Mr.
what is happening here?
Yeah.
So all of them have to queue behind
Thank you, Mr. Wakalane.
has done.
Sabe Siriabe,
Yes.
Nigeria has a very bad record in terms of out-of-school children.
That's right.
And a situation where a governor can take one of his children to public school. What's your take on this?
This is the right step in the right direction.
Yeah.
You see, you know, because of lack of trust that we now have in Nigeria, we have considered ourselves to malignant critics to the extent that when we see a good thing, we don't applaud it. We read ugly meaning to beautiful things. That's our base. You politicize everything. You complain that, oh, the children of the rich, they are not found in
politicians.
in the political. Politicians are not found. Then one politician has come out to say, look, it is doable. First of all, he went all out to ensure that the schools are catered for very well. He has built it. He has put in all the gadgets and everything. And now said, I want to start also with my child. And people are busy reading ugly meanings to it. I think a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. We are calling from this program on all politicians and even the business moguls to follow suit. Because, my brother, we live in a community. If the children of the affluent and the children of the poorest of the poor, they meet at the common ground, they need to know themselves. Whatever it is that has made you sick can rub off on the other person. That's what we need. And El-Rufai has championed this cause. Let us applaud him. Let us agree with him. You see, President Obama did one thing all along. Do you know that President Obama was going to PTA meeting as the president of America? He goes to PTA meeting and sits with other people. He said, look at the president. He said, there's PTA meeting. We want to see more of this, and it will help us a lot. So if what Professor Erba has done shows that these things are doable. What they need to do now is we call on all the other governors to ensure that the money, that the public money within their fold, they should use it to develop the public schools so that it can be a place for all, no matter your status in society.
Thank you. Barrister Patrick Sekwene.
I give kudos to verify. I expect that the name of that child will be sent to Guinness Book of Record. For any child to be involved in public school is unheard. But my brother, we can't rule out politics from it anyway. We can't rule out politics from it. It's political. I think what he's trying to do is, what he's trying to say is that, I mean, from his action, is that it's an advice. And let us also involve ourselves in this public school. It's not only for the poor, with the elite. Because you know what it takes for the child to be there, you know the security involvement?
Yes.
The DSS, because it's a child of elite. SSM will be there, so many security will be put in place. When you have no children, come Boko Haram, some kidnappers, it's not a joking matter. The security you have in that school is they tell you what is on ground. I don't know.
It wasn't so before.
It wasn't so. So it's a serious matter. So I give kudos to him. But so it's not advisable that it's doable. Let us also involve our children in a public school. Because you know in Nigeria it's unheard. That's why you see people talking here and here, but we know that it's political. That's my position.
No, but he actually said it's a promise he made to the people. He's fulfilling that promise.
I've never seen people making promises. They will not go with the promises.
But we'll see.
So I understand what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to cannot do that politics. What you're trying to say is that this idea I'm selling, the elites, other governors, send the children to public school so that they do not discrimination, so that public school can get back its lost glory. That is what it's trying to. It's a message.
Okay.
But how long will this one go? How long will he? So just no problem. I say it's just for a message.
Okay.
So
well,
I commend him.
Yes. The way forward.
Yes. I want to wish every Nigerian happy Independence Day.
Okay.
Nigeria has been a very great country. Very wonderful people.
Yes.
Wonderful culture. We are blessed with so much natural resources.
Are we still the giant of Africa?
We are.
Yes.
We are. We are. Forget what the predicaments, the problem, the economic situation we find ourselves today. Whether we like it or not, Nigeria is the best country in Africa. We have the human resources. We have the material resources. In fact, we are blessed in all areas of life. You see, in the journey of life, it cannot be all smooth at all times. There are times it becomes sweet. There are times it becomes bitter. So when it is bitter, what we need to do is to come together to see how that darkness can go away. It doesn't last. Then when it is sweet, we enjoy together. And don't forget, we can never compare Nigeria with countries like Ghana, South Africa, and the rest we see today. Nigeria is so big that today we are still together. We have not divided. We are still one. You see, I wish everybody happy independence. I want us to come together. Whether you are an Igbo, you are Hausa, you are a Yoruba, you are an Edo, you are Shekiri, wherever tribe you belong to, let's come together. Let us build a one Nigeria, a wonderful country that other countries will be emulating. That every Nigerian that finds themselves in different countries today, we all migrate back home. And I wish to see that day.
Thank you. Sabesi Rabi.
Yes, I just have to wish Nigerians a happy independence celebration. Nigeria is a blessed country, both human and material resources.
Yeah.
And we should be proud of our nation. That whatever is besetting our nation is not exclusive to Nigeria. If you travel outside of this country, you are going to see things that you will say, oh, these things also happen here and all that. Is it? The other day, Nigeria is still the giant of Africa. I went to an African country the other day. The person in front of me, they were scrutinizing, can we get a letter telling us that you are coming? So I was just waiting patiently. The moment I met the person, he looked at me, he said, you are in Nigeria? I said, oh, I am. He shook my hand, he said, oh, how is Buhari? I said, he's doing well. He said, please go. I was excited. I just told you I travel. I said, is it me? He said, I should greet Buhari. That's the man who was there. I said, oh, thank you very much. And I just went away.
Yes.
So Nigeria have the potential of making it. The whole world knows. All we need to do is for Nigerians to come back to basics. The leadership should also come, spearhead, and then let us have a discussion. With that Nigeria, where do we go Nigeria? Who over this Nigeria? We can go somewhere.
Okay.
And then we have to try to make Nigeria a nation. What I mean by this is that today, everybody in Nigeria, they still look at themselves from their ethnic nationality.
Okay.
They don't see themselves as Nigerians. The moment you say, where is he from? Is it from my place? Well, that's the way we still see Nigeria. But I'm looking for a situation, looking towards a situation where Nigeria becomes a nation. Where if they see you, are you a Gosa? You say, oh, you are a Nigerian. You have this, with everything should be done on merit.
Yeah.
As opposed to where you came from.
Thank you. Barrister Patrick Sekwene.
Yes, Nigerians should not be hopeless.
Okay.
No matter how dark night may be, there must surely be day. No matter what you are passing through, it's just temporary. I don't think it's forever. Most great countries are passed through several stages, so they should not forget about that. If you keep on being honest, hard work does not kill. That's why I said, laborare et durare. There's no stopping to hard work. It's the key to your success. Not issue of cyber crime, short way. You will not take it to anywhere. Forget about materialism. Pay your price. Time will come. You have all the things you want. It's just a question of time. I wish you happy independence celebration.
Thank you very much, Barrister Patrick Sekwene. On that note, I say thank you too for being a part of the program. My guests have made it very, very explicit. Nigerians should not despair. We have potentialities in this country, and all we need to know, all Nigerians need to do is get their hearts right, and Nigeria surely will be catapulted to very higher pedestal and repositioned in the Committee of Nations that every Nigerian will be proud of. Thanks for being a part of the program. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your contribution to this show. And we'll be with you by God's grace. Next week, Thursday, we'll be looking at all the national issues of the program. 60 Minutes Nigeria. Bye-bye.